Yeah, the news you never want to hear, especially someone as bright in the future that have ahead of her for JuJu Watkins. But it is unfortunately an ACL tear. Her season is done. That NCAA tournament run also now done. This happening last night in the second round of the tournament, playing at home against Mississippi State. And it was an injury that did not look pretty in the moment. She was fouled as she was running, going down the court on a fast break. A clean foul, though. But she went down and would not come back up on her own power. The Trojans went on to win the game 96-59, but when you look at what this means for just the game of basketball in USC, it's a tough blow. USC putting this out on their X account saying JuJu Watkins sustained a season-ending injury in the NCAA second round on Monday night. She will undergo surgery and then begin rehabilitation shortly thereafter. Trojans head coach Gottlieb knows that it will be a tough road ahead without their star, but last night was a good first step.
I mean, you cannot tell me that the energy of that crowd and how sort of angry they were with the other team and how much fired up they were for our team is so much about what JuJu has given to this arena, to this program, to this city, and you just want to give it all back, right? You want to give it all back and support her however we can, but also, you know, the team has become a team, you know, and deserves my best and our best to build that belief in them that they can do anything. We don't get to go on the coaching manual script and go by everything the way it's supposed to happen, and whatever comes with it, you know, we will make sure that we're pouring into this team, to JuJu, and keeping us together, because as you saw tonight, you know, we're capable of a lot of greatness, and that's what we'll continue to message to our team.
Yeah, the greatness of JuJu Watkins and that trajectory that she's on certainly puts her to know she is one of them ones. More points over her first 2 seasons than Caitlin Clark, second only to Kelsey Mitchell. She was second in D1 this season, averaging 24.6 points per game, but that is now the end of her campaign for this year. Let's further the conversation and bring in our very own Erica Ayala. And Erica, JuJu Watkins out for the season at this time of the tournament. It's, for me personally, when I saw the injury happen and I saw the replays, I was like, this does not look good. I still feel like I don't know the right way to even describe how I'm feeling seeing this and knowing that she's going to be out. Hopefully you can do better here.
I mean, it's a gut punch. It's a gut punch to this USC team. It's a gut punch to, as y'all have mentioned, women's basketball. A lot of people thinking that JuJu was the presumptive leader of, you know, the player of the tournament, most outstanding player of this NCAA tournament, and we had no reason to believe that that wouldn't be the case. We did see that she tweaked an ankle in that first game, and then, of course, unfortunately goes down with the injury in game number 2. But in both games, whether it was JuJu or USC and Kiki Iriafen, who I'm sure we'll talk about, it was kind of the message was, as respectfully as you can say, knowing that a generational talent has an injury, at the end of the day, nobody cares. You have to play on. And the messaging from this Trojans team was, of course, to play for JuJu, give the energy that she always gives to the team, and play for each other. It went up against a Mississippi State team that wanted to keep things physical, wanted to maybe make it a little bit of an SEC versus Big Ten battle here. And we saw that this USC team was able to get it together. Even had another player shortly after JuJu went down in, Rhea Smith go down and hit her head on the hardwood floor. But they rallied. And that's what this time of the year means for all basketball teams, but especially right now for this USC team.
Yeah, I think rally might be the perfect word, because right after they resumed play following the JuJu injury, the energy in the arena, it seemed loud. It felt like that the Trojans really responded in order to kind of say, hey, Mississippi State, you're not going to hang in this game. We're going to take this. They had to rely on a whole lot of freshmen to step up, but then, of course, you need your senior, and they got big play from Kiki Iriafen, because she's not new to this. We've seen her do it time and time again when she was at Stanford. 36 points last night. That's well above her average this year of 19 points per game. You have to remember, like, Kiki can play.
That's exactly it. As you said, not new, I'll add, she's true. And this is what you need. Right alongside JuJu Watkins has been Iriafen. I think that she hasn't necessarily had to play that #1 role. When you play on the court with Watkins, that's not always necessary. But you saw in that game, not only with her points, but as you mentioned, USC leaned on some of their freshmen, including Kaylee Heckel, who Iriafen has a relationship with, had talked about how they've been roommates and et cetera. But there were times where, maybe Kaylee Heckel was making the wrong play, speeding up the offense, and you would see Iriafen just pull her to the side, have a quick conversation, make sure she understood what was needed from her and what the moment necessitated, so that USC is not just relying on one player, but they're getting it done. But Iriafen's leadership, in addition to what she was able to score, came through, and that's exactly what they're going to need moving forward.
Yeah, and moving forward, bringing it back to JuJu, of course, only a sophomore this year, so she still had years left ahead of her in the college game. But you see a torn ACL. We know what that rehab process is like for athletes. How do you think this impacts her future long term?
I'll be honest, as I saw the injury and then officially heard what the injury was, there was a part of my mind that could not let Cheryl Miller out of my consciousness. Because for those who know, Cheryl Miller, we did not see her at the pro level. We did not see her after her USC days at the international stage, because she had an ACL injury. And back then in the 80s, the technology, the rehab, what we know about the injuries is not what it is today. That's the good news for JuJu. That's the good news for this USC team. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we do know that she will have great care. We saw that USC made a statement immediately, was able to reference her surgery immediately and her recovery. So those are all good things. And she's young. Again, we have the technology that we have, and so hopefully this won't be something that sets her back, because as we saw in some of the graphics earlier, she is truly someone who has taken over what a lot of people didn't think could be done after a Caitlin Clark or a Kelsey Mitchell or a Kelsey Plum, or again, going back to a Cheryl Miller. But then we have JuJu here. So wishing her, of course, all the best and a speedy recovery, but also a smart recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. She has the game in her hands. I think the game will be ready for her to come back whenever she is ready, and to cheer her on every step of the way. You still look at this, though, okay, it's time for the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Tournament. Like, we're not done. We still have to crown a champion coming up here in a few weeks. How does this impact the way you view the bracket maybe shaking out when you look at USC, who is a 1 seed, but now has no JuJu and has a date looming with UConn later on down the road, potentially?
For me, I'm not sure that this impacts how I perceive the tournament. First things first, as we said, Iriafen, not new, but true, and showed that in the game. She has stepped up and will continue to step up in her leadership and her scoring. That being said, this UConn squad, Paige Beckers had a fantastic game, showing her efficiency and how she can also distribute the ball. That is a UConn team that I honestly was expecting to be able to have the edge over USC, even when we knew JuJu was in the tournament. I think that UConn is going to approach the game the same, and it's going to be a matter of what USC can do to step up. And we've already seen them do that, so I'm not counting USC out. That being said, even before the injury, I was going to give the edge to UConn. But either way, it's going to be an epic battle. It was always going to be an epic battle, and now there's a little bit more heart on the line, perhaps, for both teams. Yeah,
I think the emotion certainly will be high as we get down to that portion of the bracket, and just seeing how this all pans out for who makes it to Tampa, because there are some good teams out there this year. We don't really know who will be the one to cut down the nets and win it all. Erica Ayala, thank you so much, talking JuJu Watkins for her and that recovery. We certainly wish her that speedy recovery, as you mentioned, because everyone out there is tweeting and showing their well wishes, from the WNBA stars to current college stars, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, Stewie, Flau'jae Johnson, still starring at LSU, and of course Asia Wilson, all praying and putting those prayer emojis. But it's not just women's basketball. It's NFL players, Xavier McKinney, Des Bryant, Todd Gurley, who knows a thing or two about a knee injury, hoping that it's nothing serious for JuJu as she tries to get on the mend to get better.